you should accept that you're unique from the other person. And what makes you unique is your value, and self-discovery is very important because, you know, if you discover yourself, you will have something to anchor onto because, this is my value, this is my worth. I don't have to just sell it for something. Everywhere comparison is there, but it's you as a person to break through that. You need to always remind yourself of your uniqueness, who you are, the values that you carry.
Welcome to On Becoming with H podcast.
Agnes, welcome to On Becoming.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. And I am Agnes.
Agnes, it's good to have you today. To someone who is listening to this conversation right now, what can they expect from this conversation we are having today? I feel like it's good coming from you.
Yeah, actually, I would like to first let them know the reason as to why I chose this topic. Figuring it out, a real talk about young adulthood. It's something that people rarely talk about,
Okay.
but it's something that everybody is battling with at the same time. People of our age. Others have stepped up to talk about it, while others are dying in silence. So, for both those who came up and those who are quiet with their problems, we are here to address them. Though we
Yes.
don't have all the answers, but I will give them how I manage with my own.
This generation, we are so active on social media a lot. And you see people posting their perfect moments. You see people someone telling you that I've just bought a car and you're the same age. I'm not saying it's bad to do to show your success, but we end up having their mind like, how did they figure everything out? Is there a time like in our lives where we can say, as young as we are, I have everything figured it out? There are people who seem to be doing better than us to have everything figured it out. What's your take on this mentality of having everything figured it out?
Okay. At our age, I can say it's totally okay not to have everything figured out because even most adults don't either. So with us, it's completely normal because you can't have your entire life figured out. For those who have to some extent, but they don't have it all because
Yes.
life is still continuing and a lot of things are still coming up. Then you talked of the social media and
Yes.
the things. Yeah, social media is something that is really giving us pressure. And pressure is real when we talk about social media because you find out, you just go online one day and you find someone else post something and you're like someone of your age, maybe even a friend, and you feel like they really have the whole life in their hand. But
That is
it's
true.
not like that because you talked of timeline. Yeah, it's
Yes.
something that I emphasize on most of the times because everyone's story is different.
Yes. And
Yes,
we are
your
on different
time
timelines.
is completely different. Even
Okay.
even twins, they come into the world almost following each other, but
Yes.
then they have different
Time.
stories.
Wow.
Yes, so you can't rely on someone's story. God has his purpose in your life, and his purpose in your life is not the same as the other person's purpose.
Yes.
Because sometimes we see people around, even me when I walk around, I see people who look like they have everything figured out, but the reality is they don't. Because I personally, I sometimes catch myself in that situation. I feel like I have it all, but then it hits me and I'll be like, Agnes, what are you really doing? Because I am lying to myself. I don't have it all. So
Okay.
for those who think that they are left behind, they are not left behind. It's
Wow.
just that people have their own ways of doing things, and others, yeah, there are different ways of also showing their happiness. Because if you have this small achievement, they will go and post and will talk, they'll write a lot, and you feel like just because you are not posting or you're not talking about your own,
Yeah.
it means it's like you are stagnant. And
Yes.
another thing I would want to say is comparison is a thief of joy in
Wow.
this context.
Wow.
Because once you compare yourself to somebody else, honestly, as long as they are not you, you will not be happy. There are
Yes.
certain things that we have to learn from people, but not to compete with them. Because
Okay.
once we compete with people, we find ourselves putting ourselves under some pressure that we cannot manage, because the way they do their things to achieve what they have gotten or what they are going to get is completely different.
Different.
So all I can say is that uh use your own timeline, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, use your own timeline, and that's all.
I remember my high school teacher, he used to say life is like an exam in which we all have different questions. So if I try to copy you, I will fail life because your question and my question are different. And there's also this thing about planning to host you. Some of the common things that young people who are moving into adulthood ask questions a lot. They have to do with their purpose, or I can say career in this case, and who should they marry. Those are important questions I think you can also address. Like people not to try to rush, in trying to figure out who should I marry or what is really is my purpose. And yes, it's good to know your purpose at this age. You still have, because it means like you have time to fulfill it. But should we rush the process of discovering your purpose? Should you rush the process of finding who to marry also? And what are the other things that people should take their time to figure out, including their financial freedom?
Okay. One thing I want to say is shortcuts are not always the good roads.
I remember this quote from Miles Monroe. He said, shortcut is the longest way to success.
Exactly.
Because
So
along that shortcut, you say, oh, this is not the way. Then you come back and start
yeah,
again.
it's just like having a triangle and you choose from the beginning. Instead of going straight, you decide to use the other route. And when you find out that you're stuck there, you have to go that
The
way,
other
or
one.
you come back again and start afresh.
That
So
is
shortcuts are not always good.
that is true.
It's always good you follow the right path, and you take one step at a time.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, if you think of wanting to have a whole life right now, you can't make it. That is exhausting your brain, because you will reach out having a mental breakdown. You can't have all this right now. But coming to the part of career, yeah, even I personally, I have those issues of how I am still fighting after my career, what I will be, the type of life that I want for myself, how is it going to be? These are all problems that the
Okay.
questions that everyone, almost everybody asks themselves. But yeah, going back to the point that I said before, one step at a time, and you don't have to put yourself under pressure. As long as you're taking one step and it's the right step that is taking you to your success,
Yes.
take it carefully and walk in that path. Yeah. And about marriage, it's interesting topic, because the concept of marriage is really a huge thing, though people look at it as something that you can just meet a man today or a girl today, tomorrow say I love you, end up in the, I don't know, the shortcut that you use for marriage, and you
Yeah.
end up in the family. But it's not like that. There are a lot of things that you have to consider when it comes to marriage. And you have to be personally ready to have all that, because it's like a burden in a way. So I always say it's better to carry one right problem than carrying a wrong problem
Yes.
upon yourself, because marriage itself is a problem, honestly.
Okay.
Like getting to live with someone who is not you. You don't even know
It's
how
different
they
from you. Yeah.
exactly how they live their entire life to that age. And you have to share the same space with them. You have to like it's not
Yeah.
really easy.
It's a
So
life commitment.
yeah. So before you start a marriage or all that, you have to get to know
The
that
person.
person.
And
Like,
also when we are preparing to marry, someone asked me is to the person you want to choose, do you want to create a love story or a life story with that person? And
mm,
that made me realize, like, this person I'm about to marry, what am I doing it for? Because marriage, I believe, is not just for having kids.
yeah.
It's beyond that. What is our purpose? do our purposes align also? You understand?
Mm.
And I believe young people should take dating seriously. Not just like to have someone to push time with, you have time to find someone like to make you happy. We should like be people who make ourselves happy, who know what makes us happy, and I understand our purpose and ourselves also, in order like to find better people whom we can get married. Is there an age where a person should start to be serious with his or her life?
So I will start by addressing your first questions
Okay.
about marriage and choosing partner, something like that.
Yes.
So I will say that you have to first be a complete person to have another person with you.
That is true.
Because don't expect someone else to be perfect when you're not perfect. So it starts from within. Are you really good enough for yourself before you become good enough for somebody else?
Wow.
And yeah, because sometimes, it's funny how some people would think you are not that person and you expect the other person to be that person. I don't know whether you get it, but
Yeah.
I feel like, let me give you this example. I drink, okay?
Okay.
I drink, and I don't want a man who doesn't drink.
That is not fair.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want them because it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, to some
Yes.
extent, for your own reason, I don't know, but according to you, have some reasons as to why you don't want your husband to be like that.
Yes.
So if you don't want your husband to be like that, why are you doing
Okay.
why are you
Yes.
doing? So you will end up giving your partner that pressure, like drop that or do this, or like it's too much. So I feel like you need to figure out yourself before you get to have someone with you. Don't push them into something that you are not. Do you think they will really be okay seeing you in that
No.
position? So yeah, choosing a good person, it really takes a lot, and you have to be in position also to commit to them, to be consistent, to have patience, to have a lot. So this concept of marriage, it's really broad, and there is a lot to tackle, to talk about.
And I understand that we all come through this stage in life of trying to figure out everything. But as you mentioned, that we should make it what? Step by step, and making sure that the step we are taking is the right step to our success. How can one stop comparing themselves to other people?
It's not really easy to stop that if it's a habit that you already have in your
Yes.
head, but it comes from acceptance, accepting that you're unique.
Wow.
Yeah, you should accept that you're unique from the other person. And what makes you unique is your value. What The way you do your things, the way you need to discover yourself. It's very, very important. Self-discovery is very important because you know if you discover yourself, you will have something to anchor onto because this is my value, this is my worth. I don't have to just sell it for somebody else.
Okay.
Like, yeah, there's that rope that holds you down. You're having those principles that govern you. You know who you are, what you have to do, what you don't have to do. And these are the things that can help you avoid comparison, because when you find yourself in that situation, it's not that those things won't come. They will come in any way. You will end up seeing in different ways, in dressing, in academics, business,
Okay.
marriage, everywhere comparison is there, but it's you as a person to break through that. You need to always remind yourself of your uniqueness, who you are, the values that you carry that that person does not have. And instead of comparing yourself to them or competing, you have to learn. Yeah, there is no, I feel like there's no problem with learning. Coming to someone, I don't know this. Can you please help me?
Mm.
How do you do it so that you can be a better version of yourself instead of trying to compete with someone who is not you and you don't know what they did to reach that extent. So you will end up, instead of investing that time in doing something important, you'll
Yes.
end up wasting your time. You just want to know how they made it, and you end up even making yourself, I don't know, like a spy. I don't know. You want to know what is going on, where
With
they
other,
go,
yes, in
what
interest.
yes, what they do, who they talk to, how are they succeeding, like all this, and it's wasting of time. Sit down, discover yourself, seek
Okay.
for help. That's
Yeah,
all
that
I
is
can
true.
say.
That
Yeah.
is true. You mentioned something about asking for help.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know where this thing came from, where people think that asking for help is a sign of weakness. And it has stopped so many young people from seeking mentors, from even asking their own parents for life's advices, for life guidance, you know. Because these people, our parents, our seniors, have gone before us. They know their journey. And asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's actually courage. And to know that I don't have everything figured out. I don't have everything figured out.
Mhm.
I am figuring what? Things out. What would you say from your personal journey related to this topic of figuring it out?
Okay. The part of seeking help, I personally, I think is not weakness because, okay, life is about choice.
Choice.
Yes, that's according to me, that's what I say. Life is choice and what you choose. So if you choose seeking help is weakness, then it's a negative part of your decision.
Sure.
Yes, because seeking help is good because it helps you realize what you never knew about yourself. Let me say, I take it as a connection in a
Okay.
way sometimes because when you speak out, actually, it is linked to speaking out when you reach out to people to talk. And that's what I am emphasizing on in this topic talking, speaking out, reaching out to people who
Yes.
will help you. So, where it becomes wrong is when you reach out to the wrong person. So the question is, how do you get to know who is the right person or who is not the right person?
Okay.
And this is where I say it's really important to we thank God that we have the Holy Spirit.
That is true.
Yes, because
Yes.
the Holy Spirit Himself helps us and He guides us. Like I have a problem, right?
Yes.
And I don't know who to talk to. And I don't know whether that person can really solve my problem. But when you pray about it, the Lord directs you. The Holy Spirit leads you to the right person. This is the right person you have to talk to, and that person will help you. Because there are certain problems that are past our human capacity that we don't even know. Maybe you just want to talk because you might think Agnes is a good person for me to talk to or to
Yeah.
listen to me. But then you come to me and you just find out that it was a wrong choice because I'll be listening to you and I don't add anything to you. You just go back instead of feeling relieved, you go back empty and drained and exhausted and just angry even at yourself for making that decision.
Okay.
So choosing a right person, yeah, as I say that, then also there are people, not everybody is the right person. And that's why we should be very, very careful. Much as the Holy Spirit is there to guide us or the Lord is
Yes.
there to guide us, we are our own responsibility. So there are decisions that we have to make that are really, we have to be cautious about them. You can't just go and open anyhow to anybody. Like you should know who is the right person to
Person to
speak
talk
to.
to.
At what time even are they in good stage to listen to you? If they are not, keep quiet. Yes,
Okay.
keep quiet. Find a way to distract yourself because that person might be a good person, but then it's not the
The
right
right
timing.
person and
It's
in
not
the
the
right
right
time.
time.
Yes.
Yes, they are the right person, but it's not the right
Right
time.
time.
So it's your right to know who is the right person. What is the story that I want to give them? Is it the right time for them to listen to me or to answer me? Because if you go there and you don't get your answers, you are disappointed and you might not even ever want to seek help from anybody or talk to anyone.
What is the worst life advice that you've ever had?
The worst life advice that I ever had is, oh, it can be connected to this thing of talking. I personally, I never believed in talking to people. I always, I learned how to handle my problems on my own because of the experiences that I got exposed to, I lack trust. But
Yes.
then there are specific people who always make us to be who we are sometimes. And it takes us to the talk of having a right person. Because I also had that mentality of don't seek advice because people will mislead you.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't talk to people. Like sort your own self out. Of which I don't say it's bad for people who do that. But no man is an island. That's the
We
truth.
need each other.
Exactly. We need each other in either ways. So there are things that I might feel like they're too secret for me to talk about, but then still there are things that you can share with someone.
With
So
some
don't
people.
shut all the doors.
To someone who is listening to us,
Mhm.
who has been listening to this conversation, what is one key takeaway from this conversation we had?
Okay. I'll tell them, to someone listening outside there, is don't be under pressure. Okay. Don't be under pressure. And it's okay not to have it all at your early 20s. It's very okay. It's not the end of life. You make it one step at a time, as I said before, and learn how to share or seek help from the right people. And also listen, because there are people who reach out, but they're not willing to accept. When you make the mind of reaching out to someone, you have to be in position to take also, not to just give, you have to receive.
Also.
Yes, that's why you went there. So I will want to give you a personal story about myself. So when I was in primary, I had this teacher. So I joined a new school in primary 7 in the middle of the term. So we're about to do our mocks, and I was like, how will I manage with this teacher? So I didn't like that teacher. Okay, social studies was one of my best subjects. I used to pass very well. But then this teacher, every time, okay, I had that mindset that he didn't like me because whenever I used to come late, this man would be like, would beat me very well, he would cane me very well. 2 minutes late, he canes me. I don't know, 5 minutes, he canes me. So I developed that hatred towards him. And also about my, of course, when you hate someone, you don't even want to comply with anything to do with them.
Yeah.
So my grades started declining a little bit. So I reached a point. So I come from a family that education is taken as a very serious thing. So my elder brother always used to, if the term, okay, when we receive our results or when the term is starting, he makes us sit down. You have to give promises. What are you going to score? Okay, which grades will you bring back home and all that? And he used to always check. So one time I didn't like that man. It was like a problem to me. I had the bitterness towards him, that teacher. So I came home, I showed him my papers, and he was like, what's wrong? That time I decided to just talk to my brother, and I was like, this teacher, he doesn't like me.
Yes.
Yes, every time he's talking about me in class, every time he's beating me, I hate him. And he was like, you know what, Agnes, this teacher doesn't hate you. And I was like, in my head, what is my brother talking about?
Yeah.
This person who has been treating me like that. So he was like, people who talk about us every time, they want something from you to change. And I left, I didn't like it. I went to my room and I sat and I was like, is it true? But then I was forced to think about it because my grades were not good. So I
Yes.
had to work on myself. I was like, I think I need to start liking this teacher. But how? I need to like him because that is the only way I can at least sit in class and listen to him without I don't know, without having that bitterness. So one day I was like, for the sake of my grades, I will I will
like him.
try to look at it in a positive way.
Okay.
So the time I did my exams, I had 78 for the first time in
Wow.
his like with his subject. And he I became the topic in a positive manner. Like,
No.
it was like, you people, you should be like Agnes. I was like, so it's me again today. He was now appreciating me in front of people.
Wow.
Like, you should be like her. She moved from 50s to 80 to 70, almost 80 the next time. And I was like, I got this. I'm not going to shame myself again. I'm going to hold onto that and I'm going to make it. So I can say that sometimes things look bad, but it's your responsibility to make them right.
Wow.
Like, if I hadn't made that decision of looking at it in a positive manner, it would have ruined me for good. But I decided to choose something good out of that whole bad situation, and my story changed. So whenever I find myself in such situations, I always use the lesson that I learned, that first thing is when you talk to the right person, you get a solution. Another one is your perspective.
Okay.
When you look at things in a negative way, they affect you in a negative way. But if you decide to look for a positive thing in the middle of chaos, you will get something good from that. So yeah.
Yeah, that is a powerful story. And thank you, Agnes, for coming here to On Becoming.
Thank you so very much. And yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you for having me as your guest.
It's such an honor.